The Havas village in corporate Gurgaon has been buzzing, dealing with mega rival consolidations, global headwinds, war-like situations, and tariff-induced uncertainties. Yannick Bolloré, global chairman and chief executive of Havas, which works with Reckitt Benckiser, Tata Steel, and HUL, tells me he's keeping blue-chip advertiser sentiment bullish and long-termist instead of short-termist.
We're happy in Europe when we have 2 to 3% organic growth, where in India you have a growth 10% plus year on year. China also has been growing very, very fast. We are very happy to be present both in India and in China, though there are two very large economies, two very large populations. The moral of the households is not there when there is some tensions between your country and another one. It has impacted the growth last month. Wars is creating uncertainty and business don't like uncertainty. Digital is now bigger than the traditional media. Brands are spending more money in digital than in TV plus radio plus out-of-home combined. My vision is that every employee at Havas should be fully trained on AI. I believe you need to have some scale if you want to operate globally. And at the same time, I would say it's better not to be the biggest.
Between a packed India visit, back-to-back reviews, and coffee, Bolloré talks about what it's like being a challenger agency with scale, bolt-on acquisitions being core to his growth strategy, and that advertisers don't need to be better than AI, but better with AI. It's Thursday, June 5th. I'm your host, Ratna Bhushan from the Economic Times, and you're listening to a freewheeling conversation with Yannick Bolloré only on The Morning Brief. Good morning, Yannick. So nice to have you on The Morning Brief with us today.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Yannick, let's set the ball rolling. Many MNCs, and we cover MNCs very closely. So they've all called out India as a core growth bastion, right? Especially at a time when a lot of companies are showing slowing sales in mature markets, where India is, very much an emerging market. Is that translating into advertising?
Yes, completely. When you look at the growth of our industry in Europe or in the US compared to what's happening here in India, it's complete different worlds. We're happy in Europe when we have 2 to 3% organic growth, where in India you have a growth 10% plus year on year. So, of course, it's a great area of growth for the industry.
Okay, and how do we compare with China?
China also has been growing very, very fast those past 10, 20 years, maybe, if I may say so. It has been more complex in China maybe than in other parts of the world. But those are two immense regions that are growing fast.
So there's a lot of chatter that China could fall behind and India could overtake China in terms of the ad market and the growth market. What's your take on this?
It's not a contest. We don't see it like that. We are very happy to be present both in India and in China, though there are two very large economies, two very large populations. And I don't know who's going to be the largest, but it's going to be two great regions of the world to do advertising and business in general.
Okay, so can you give me 3 points from your perspective on what is driving growth in India?
It's a great question. So first you have the population, which is growing by itself. So every year you have millions and millions of people accessing the middle class with buying power. So it's driving growth for advertising because those people have access to buying cars, fridge, everything. So it's driving growth by itself. Then you have everything related to the digital part, which is very strong. The growth in digital in India is very strong. And for the first year last year, digital is now bigger than the traditional media, which means that brands are spending more money in digital than in TV plus radio plus out-of-home combined. And also, I would also say that India is becoming more and more a country hub for Asia or for other parts of the world, what we call centers of excellence, where India is producing work in the digital space, for instance, for other parts of the world.
Okay, what about sectors like manufacturing, infrastructure, etc.? Do you see all those also contributing to more investor sentiment coming into India?
Yeah, of course. I mean, all the sectors are growing in India when you look at the economy. All sectors are contributing, and of course, manufacture, infrastructure are sectors of growth for us. But in advertising, the big part of the advertisement of the investments are made with consumer-led type of businesses, FMCGs, cars, bank, finance, insurances, wine and spirits. I mean, this kind of consumer-facing type of industry.
Right. Of late, there's been these border tensions between India and Pakistan, and it created a lot of global sort of sentiment. Would that impact advertising in the long term or in India, or do you think that was a short term disruption?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it has impacted a bit the growth during this period of time last month. We've seen some cancellations, especially in the event business. The event business, I mean, the experiential business is representing 15-20% of Havas India. So we've seen some cancellation. I don't think that is having some impact on the long term. I mean, the world now, unfortunately, is used to have those kind of tension arising between two countries. So now it seems to be over. The situation seems much more normal. So I don't think it will impact the future growth, but it has impacted the growth last month as any part of the world. I mean, the moral of the households is not there when there is some tensions between your country and another one. So consumption is slowing down. So, I mean, wars is creating uncertainty, and business don't like uncertainty.
So, there are these geopolitical tensions across the world. There are these Trump tariffs. There is uncertainty because of the tariffs, etc. How does that translate to advertising for large markets like ours?
I mean, uncertainty is not good for business. Just to be clear, I mean, clients, when they want to make investment, they want to make sure that they know what's going to be the landscape or the rules or the environment for the coming 3, 4, 5 years. Because when you do an investment, I mean, sometimes the payback or the return on investment is 5 to 10 years. So in today's world, it's hard because we have so many moving pieces from a geopolitical or macroeconomic environment that it's hard. So we've seen those past 3 months, 6 months, the M&A market is going down. If you talk to M&A bankers, I mean, the level of big deals is very, very small, very narrow compared to other years. In terms of investment in advertising, we don't see today any real impact. We see small impact, but not real impact because people are continuing to deploy their plan. But we feel some uncertainty from our clients. So we need to remain agile and to remain focused. But for sure, it's not ideal to increase your investment and your spend when you're a large company.
Yes, absolutely, Yannick. Rapid tech and AI are transforming, communications, advertising in a very big way. Is that a challenge or an opportunity?
I mean, it depends how you see it. I would say it's both a challenge and an opportunity. For Havas, what you have to know is that we have always embraced innovation in general, wherever the innovation is coming from. So we've been the first group to embrace AI at large. At the end of 2022, we were already implementing AI type of production capabilities into Havas. Now we are doing AI for media, and we are trying to implement AI everyone. My vision is that every employee at Havas should be fully trained on AI, and that we should be partnering with all the great companies of the world that are creating AI tools. So I'm a big fan of AI. I think it's creating more opportunities when you do it well. I would say the challenge is if you're lagging behind in AI, because at the end of the day, you don't have to be better than AI, but you have to be better with AI. So we need to embrace it, we need to do it well, and we need to embark 100% of the workforce into this new territory.
Right. So you're leading Havas, which has so many blue chip clients. Do you tell them to blend traditional ways of advertising with AI, or are they still, the old school companies, the legacy companies, the legacy advertisers, are they still wanting to go with the traditional ways of advertising?
No, I would say that all of our clients, but I would say all the industries in the world, were very interested about AI to see what it would bring. Some clients are working in regulated environments, such as health or finance, so it takes maybe a little bit of more time to go there because they just want to make sure that everything is compliant, which I understand. But at the end of the day, I mean, for 100% of our clients, we have been organizing a workshop, things about AI. I mean, it's a key change, not just for advertising, but for any industry.
Right. And the traditional form of advertising, which was there maybe 10 years back or 5 years back, do you expect that to continue the way it is going?
Yeah, I mean, It's more the way we produce advertising, which is changing, or the way we buy media, which is changing. So we produce advertising. Now we have a lot of AI tools. We can create on the production front multiple formats, like thousands of formats of the same advertising in different size, different languages in an instant. We use algorithm to buy digital media. So it's changing a bit the way we do advertising. It's still the same concept.
Yes, yes.
Doing advertising, creating the brand platform, identifying the right audiences, the right target audiences, and find the right message. But with AI, we're able now to deliver, I would say, more personalized type of message to the right audience at the right time of the day.
Okay. And what about the costs? Are they, very different from the traditional form of advertising to what is happening now?
Yeah, the cost, I would say, will change more on the production side of the business, which means now that we can, thanks to those AI tools, we can print more efficiently. And tomorrow, with the progress of the AI tools, we will be able to produce films thanks to AI with what we call VFX or After Effects. With the same quality as we did before. So it will really reduce the cost of production with AI.
Okay. Now the ad industry is seeing a lot of consolidation, a lot of large groups are coming together. We have so many examples. Is this inevitable?
It's a good question. In the world of advertising, we are only 6 groups that operate at a global scale. You have 2 American groups, IPG and Omnicom, which are currently trying to merge. You have a group headquartered in the UK, WPP, one headquartered in Japan, Dentsu, and 2 groups headquartered in France, Publicis and Havas. So today, the merger between Omnicom and IPG will shift from 6 to 5. The real question is about what is the right scale. I believe you need to have some scale if you want to operate globally. You need to have a network of agencies all over the world or in the main countries of the world, in multiple areas of expertise, creativity, media buying, PR, production, e-commerce, everything, social media, everything. And at the same time, I would say it's better not to be the biggest, because when you're the biggest, you don't really have any kind of advantages in terms of being the biggest, but you're less agile. I think for Havas, being the best challenger of the industry, the best challenger at scale, it's giving us a different type of edge for our clients. They like this challenger spirit, they like this mindset. So I think in terms of scale, I'm quite satisfied with where we are today.
You raised a very interesting point about scale and, challengers and the disadvantages of probably being, really massive. Does that reduce the competitiveness of independent agencies? Because a lot of global alignment happens when 2 giants merge. So brands by default choose the agencies they are aligned with rather than, compared to the creative pitch that is being offered to them. I have myself, known about such examples. So is that something that concerns you?
Yeah, there are always some global brands that choose one network to align, all their countries toward one network. So that's why it's important to operate all over the world, to be competitive in those pitches. But still, at the same time, you have tons of companies that like to work with independent agencies locally that are very strong, or boutique agencies. We also see some boutique agencies emerging. So I think at the end of the day, it's a combination of great big groups, such as Havas or IPG plus Omnicom. Plus, it exists some complementary boutique agency, but that will operate on lower scale by nature.
You're talking about boutique agencies and smaller agencies. Is inorganic growth something that you're looking at also in a very targeted way?
Yeah, Havas has been the most acquisitive group of the industry. We acquire between 5 and 10 agencies, small agencies or mid-size agencies, which is for us very important, is how do we integrate those agencies? What will they bring to our current existing offering? Bring the fresh breadth of talent, of skills. So we will continue doing those bolt-on acquisitions. 2025, we have already realized 3 acquisitions, 1 in the US, 2 in Europe. So we will continue with this bolt-on strategy in M&A.
Okay, so is there anything that is happening in India in the immediate future?
Yeah, so in India, we have been very acquisitive. 8 years ago, we were 250 people in India, which is very small. And thanks to acquisition and organic growth, we are now 2,500 people in India, which means that we have multiplied our scale in India by 10. So today we are satisfied with what we have in India. We have a presence in every expertise, but we will continue to monitor the market because so far, all the acquisitions that we have conducted in India has proven very efficient, very effective. And we will continue to monitor the market. So I think at the end of the day, it's a combination of great big groups, such as Havas or IPG, plus Omnicom.
Have you told your team to, escalate on bolt-on acquisitions as we speak?
Yeah, I mean, they know what we want to reach. I mean, we shifted from 250 people to 2,500.
Yes.
I would love to reach a 5,000 people milestone in the coming years. Yeah. So the market by itself is growing 8 to 10% a year, let's say 10%. So we need at least to achieve those 10% growth. And if we work well, we will do more than 10% in India because we would outsmart the competition, as we say. We will deliver a better work. We will have more assignments from existing clients. And I hope we will be able to convince new clients to join Havas, which is for me the best partner. I mean, if I were a client, I would choose to work with Havas.
Of course.
Oh, but seriously.
Any figures that you have in terms of, like you said, M&As are very crucial and very important. So any fund that you have allocated for inorganic growth?
Yeah, what I see on the M&A front, I mean, it's what we investors. So we haven't slowed down in M&A. And Havas is listed again on the stock market since last December. So it's giving us extra financial means. So we'll continue to invest in M&A. Maybe we will accelerate for Havas. But what I see is that we have a corporate finance type of public relations. It's a network called Havas Advisors, H Advisors. And we see a big slowdown on the M&A front because I've been discussing with the team in the US and in Europe. I mean, all the large deals have been put on pause before people see more clearly what the impact of the tariffs will be. So it's still on pause now. And I hope that all the countries or the main countries in the world will find an agreement soon and we can come back to business as normal.
So we've talked about India extensively. Is there anything that is challenging for the India market, which you see because you've come here very frequently? And also, if I compare the India of 2 years back and now, these are the last two questions.
Yeah, I mean, India is changing a lot. So I would say if I project myself on the long term, I think India will continue to be a very strong areas of growth. I mean, what really strikes me is the abundance of talent and the level of education in India that you find. People are really smart, really hardworking. A young population. So all those elements combined, I mean, the youth of the population, the energy, the level of education, the political will to develop infrastructures and a friendly business environment make me very positive for India on the mid to long term. Honestly, India has been treated Havas very well. I cannot complain. All the acquisitions that we've made have proven very successful. People are very welcoming. I mean, I could work for the Indian business tourism authority. choose India. No, it's a great country to invest. And I recommend all my international CEO friends to have a strong look at India as a very powerful economy for today and tomorrow.
Okay, very interesting. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
India remains a core growth bastion for dozens of multinationals, a bright spot amid global headwinds, and the same will hopefully continue to spill over to the advertising landscape as well. Various estimates peg the Indian ad market at 1.6 lakh crore rupees, spurred by a middle class with buying power and sectors such as cars, consumer goods, manufacturing, and infrastructure. Yannick clearly seems to understand the Indian market, what clicks here, and the challenges therein. Havas' success in the times to come will depend on how well it balances the system, sentiment, and storytelling. We're signing off on that note and hope you enjoyed this episode. You've been listening to The Morning Brief, and I'm your host Ratna Bhushan. This episode was produced by Anirban Chaudhary and Vinay Joshi. Sound designers Amrit Reggie and Rajas Nayak. The Morning Brief drops every Tuesday, Thursday and Friday. Do tune in to ET Play for all audio content, including The Morning Brief. You can listen to our podcast on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thank you for listening and have a nice day ahead.